I hope you're all doing well, staying healthy, staying safe. Today I am back with another forecast for you. We're going to be chatting about the astrology for the week of August 10th through the 16th. So last week astrology was quite dramatic. We had a big shift from the astrology for most of June and July, with Mercury and Venus in particular moving out of signs that they had been in for a long time. So last week definitely represented a big shift in energy. And this week is more just some aspects playing into each other, but they're also still significant and obviously worth talking about, otherwise I wouldn't be here. So let's dive into the astrology of this week. So starting off Monday, August 10th, Mercury will be squaring Uranus. So Mercury is in Leo right now, and Uranus is in Taurus, so that's a 90-degree harsh aspect. They're kind of coming at each other sideways, and so the energies of these two planets are kind of in a fight to try and gain some ground, but neither of them really can because of the weird aspect that they're in. I don't mean weird as in abnormal, weird as in tricky, I should say. So Mercury is obviously our planet of communication, of learning, of ideas, expression, etc. So Mercury in Leo wants to, go out there, express, be bold, be confident. But Uranus is kind of throwing in this element, this like curveball, if you will, because Uranus is all about change, transformation, revolution. This aspect is really giving us an opportunity to kind of like revamp the way that we've been thinking, how we express our ideas, if there's any way we can change our values and what we think to better fit what feels right to us. Uranus is also very concerned with the collective and has a bit of a humanitarian feel to it. So this transit is also kind of asking us to change our thinking to match what is best for the collective. And if we've been ignoring our calling, if you have been very performative with your allyship or advocacy recently, this transit is kind of a time to change that up. Uranus is definitely about change, and not like the change of Pluto that's very destructive, but rather the change that's fast moving and inspiring. So Mercury making a square to this is going to be a bit of a conflict between the way that we've currently been expressing ourselves and the way we've currently been thinking and kind of taking in the world around us, our perception of our realities. Uranus is going to shift that. So you might have some sort of awakening this week in relation to the greater good. How can you use your voice most effectively, per se? And then also on a more personal level with this, because this whole week is filled with aspects to personal planets. So with Uranus aspecting Mercury, this may affect you on a more personal level, just generally how you communicate to the people in your life, people around you, and kind of changing that up. This transit on August 10th, this Monday, is very much a time to kind of reevaluate how we're communicating and transforming that, revamping it so that it can be as effective as possible. And then on August 13th, which is Thursday, we have a square between Mars in Aries and Pluto in Capricorn. And oh boy, this is gonna be a little bit of a toughie. This day just feels very heavy. There's a lot of conflict there because Mars is one of the traditional malefics. It's about anger, confrontation, aggression, kind of going for what we want. And then Pluto, it's not defined as a malefic or a benefic because it's not one of the 7 traditional planets, but based on the significations of death, destruction, and rebirth, those aren't really things that we want interacting with Mars. Because Mars in Aries, like I've mentioned before, is full steam ahead. Mars in Aries is very confident because Mars is in its domicile in Aries. And so Mars really just wants to take the plunge, go for what it wants, full steam ahead. And Pluto kind of wants to help out, but Pluto requires some sense of destruction first. So this day, it kind of feels like you're going to have some realizations of areas of your life where maybe you've been trying to make a change, trying to start something new, get a project up and running. And on this day, you're going to realize that things need to fall away before you can go forward with something new. And so this day is just going to be kind of about compromising and where you can give a little. Because the energy of this day wants to take. And you obviously just can't keep taking without giving something. This day is likely going to help you realize where you need to give a little bit more and where you need to offer some sort of compromise, which of course is never easy and never pleasant, but that's what happens when we have Mars and Pluto together. It's not necessarily one of the nicest transits. And then jumping to Saturday, August 15th, Uranus is going retrograde in the sign of Taurus. And the retrogrades of outer planets are definitely not as like personally impactful, but on a collective right now, the world is kind of going through a lot right now that has a very Uranus heavy energy, like uprisings, revolutions, demands for change, kind of bringing the truth to light. Again, like the humanitarian, like what's good for the collective type energy. With Uranus stationing retrograde, it's definitely not the same like grinding to a halt, kind of like slamming on the brakes, like getting whiplash that Mercury retrograde brings. Rather, it gives us an opportunity to kind of slow down and look at the changes that we're making sure that they're like sustainable in the long term, making sure that we're using our voices in the best way possible, because everyone has their own gift, everyone has something to bring to the table, and not everyone's going to bring the same thing. But as with all retrogrades and outer planets, you're not going to feel these effects super strongly in your own personal life, because these planets are more generational and their reach doesn't quite go as personal as some of the personal planets, which I've been talking about because Mercury and Mars are both personal planets. So the aspects that I talked about for the 10th and the 13th, those will definitely hit you more on a personal level. But this retrograde, the Uranus retrograde, you'll feel it, but it's not going to be like a major theme. It's just kind of something else to add to the background noise. Finally, we get to Sunday, August 16th, and this is probably one of the best days astrologically this entire month, because Mercury and the Sun are meeting up in Leo, and I think that the exact conjunction for that is on August 17th, so we'll talk about that one next week. But they're getting pretty close to each other, and on that Sunday they're making a trine to Mars in Aries. So Mars, like I said, is in its domicile in Aries. Mars is very, very happy in Aries. It's best able to express itself. It feels confident, and it has all the tools it needs to be as Martian as possible. And you have the Sun in Leo. The Sun is in its domicile in Leo. It can be the most expressive and bold and confident and reassured and have the most reach when it's in Leo. This trine is really ideal, and the reason that I'm saying it's one of the best days astrologically for the entire month of August is because Mars is in its domicile in Aries, the Sun is in its domicile in Leo, and Mercury, which is, again, a neutral planet, it's not a benefic or a malefic, it's just going to amplify that. You know, Mercury's the messenger, so it's going to kind of like shout out the messages that are being sent between Mars and the Sun. And so Mars, again, is about confidence, it's about assertion, it's very physical, and so is the Sun. So this is a really good time to kind of start something. If you want to start a new fitness routine, this is the time to do that. If you've been sitting on a project for a while waiting for the right moment, this is the right moment. If you want to make some change in your life, kind of like get things going, especially in the physical realm, but really it could be anything because we have all three of these planets like pushing for it. Mars has a lot of energy right now, and Mars is really happy to go for things and actually like make ambitions tangible. This transit is really taking things out of our heads and bringing them into the real world. So if you've been waiting to start something for a while, if you've been kind of like toying with the idea of like, I don't know, like starting your own business or like getting your website set up or creating new habits in your life that you know are going to benefit you, and like, you know, whether it's like waking up earlier, starting a yoga or meditation practice, eating healthier, moving your body more, or anything related to Mercury as well, I think would be really good at this time, like journaling more, practicing your writing, talking to friends more, whatever's been kind of sitting on your like, oh, I should do that list. This is the time to get it going. So this transit is really exciting, and I'm sure you've heard other astrologers say this, but the astrology of 2020 and kind of 2021 as well is really rough. And so days like the 16th, where the planets are actually aligning in a way that's beneficial and will actually like help you make progress towards what you want to achieve, these are the days you really just have to harness that energy. The energy of the 16th, like Mars and the Sun and Mercury working together, is really empowering, and this is a day to like kind of go for things that require a little bit more confidence. On this day, you will actually feel like you can do it. And you can always do it. You can do it any day you want, like whatever project or ideas you've been sitting on for a little bit. You can do them at any time, but this day, you'll actually feel empowered to do so. And I think that's really important in actually like making your goals a reality. So a quick recap on the dates. So on Monday, August 10th, we have Mercury square Uranus. This is going to be a bit of a shakeup in how we approach communication, learning, ideas, how we express ourselves. So bit of a revolutionary kind of a shaking up day. And then on Thursday, August 13th, we have the Mars square Pluto aspect. And this aspect is definitely a little bit more heavy. Figure out where we need to compromise a bit more and where it's really important for us to stand our ground. Because we have to do both to be successful. We can't always, hold on really tight and take from others. We need to compromise and give sometimes as well. So figuring out where in your life you need to give more and where it's really important that you stand up for yourself. And then on Saturday, August 15th, Uranus goes retrograde. So themes surrounding revolution, change, rebellion, innovation, those are going to kind of slow down a bit. But again, this is a generational planet. It's not going to feel quite as personal to you. And then finally on Sunday, one of the best days astrologically of August, and honestly of like the last couple of months, we have the Sun and Mercury getting really close together, not quite an exact conjunction, but very close together in Leo, and making a trine to Aries. And so this day is really about like taking action, going after what you want, kind of getting started on whatever you've been wanting to get started on but haven't felt the drive to do so. This day is going to give you that drive. This day is going to give you the energy and the empowerment to actually go for what you want to go for. So that's the astrology this week. I'm going to pull a couple of oracle cards and we can get some advice and words of wisdom for the week ahead. All right, so our first card is You Already Are. I think that this is a really important message for this week because the two squares at the beginning of the week, the Mercury square Uranus on Monday, and then the Pluto square Mars on Thursday, there's definitely a bit of like insecurity and kind of like, am I actually on the right path? Am I doing what I want to be doing? Am I expressing myself truly? And there's going to be some questions about like, am I acting towards my highest self? What do I need to be doing to get better? And then to an extent as well with the fire sign trine, Mars and Aries, and then the Sun and Mercury and Leo on Sunday, this is kind of like bringing us an opportunity to like get going. And like I kept saying like this is the time to start on a project, like to bring your goals into reality, to kind of get going on those. And this card is a really important reminder that as you are right now, you are perfect and whole. You already are. And yes, you can always grow and be a better version of yourself. One of my favorite dialectics, like the core dialectic of DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, is I'm doing the best I can and I can improve. We're not canceling one or the other out. Those two opposing truths are true at the same time. And this is affirming the first half of that. I already am. I am already whole and perfect and worthy as I am in this moment. So that's our first message for this week. And then our next card is Curiosity. I really love this card with all the Uranus action this week and then also all the Mercury action this week, because I feel like curiosity is obviously core to Mercury, like learning and communicating and like ideas. That's definitely most tied up traditionally to curiosity. But with Uranus, there's kind of like almost a utopian, idealistic, like what if kind of curiosity, like what if we actually do make changes and better the world? What if we actually hold police officers accountable for the murders that they commit? This card is kind of pointing towards the curiosity and like the wondering of like what could actually happen, like what if, but what if I continue down this path? What if I truly like became the best version of myself? What if I truly used my voice for the good of the world? What if I spoke up for what I believed in more? What if I actually made a change? This curiosity is kind of encouraging us to just try out new things. What happens if I, publish my ideas for the world to see? What happens if I actually start on that goal or start implementing that habit that I've been thinking about for a really long time but haven't actually ever tried out in my life? So this curiosity is kind of inviting us to try out new things and just be open to them. Not holding any expectations of what it will be like if we do this, just holding space for the curiosity and just allowing ourselves to try new things. And then I feel called to pull one more card, so we'll pull one more. All right, so I had two that jumped out at me. And oh my gosh, these all just like work so well together. So the two that really jumped out, like literally jumped out, was love your dark side too. And I think that this is so important because with all of these malefic planets kind of in play, showing the darker sides of ourselves, it's really easy to kind of get into an avoidant mindset of, I don't even want to like worry about that. I don't even want to think about that side of myself. And we get into like the whole labeling of this part of me is good, this part of me is bad. I want to hold on and attach myself to the good parts of myself and get really avoidant towards the bad parts of myself. And so with the You Already Are card, I think this one's really important because it's not shying away from the fact that there's a dark side to you. It's just you already are you. And with this radical acceptance of accepting yourself as you are, embracing the dark side too. Just fully, radically accepting every part of yourself. And with our good trine on Sunday, with, again, Mars in Aries, Mercury and the Sun in Leo, that's a really good chance to kind of go after things and feel really embodied and confident in yourself. But it's hard to feel confident in yourself when you're kind of ignoring parts of yourself or trying to suppress them. And so these cards are really here to remind you that it's okay to have your dark side. Everyone has their dark side. Everyone has their shadow side. Everyone has things that they're working on. That doesn't mean that you're not important and valuable and necessary as you are right now. So there's no point in waiting to show up until you feel perfect and just accepting like you already are important, you already are needed, your voice is needed out there. And so just starting from where you're at and going from there. Knowing that you have a dark side too and fully embracing that dark side and loving it as it is. And then the final card that jumped out to me was You Are Always Shifting. And I think, again, with all the Uranus action this week, there's definitely a lot of change in the air. Last week we had a lot of shifts, and this week there are still more shifts to come. And this card, again, is kind of reminding you it's okay to change, it's important to change, and it's important to kind of look critically at yourself and see where you can develop, and then actually like do the things that you say you're gonna do. Because with all the Mercury stuff, like Mercury-Uranus square at the beginning of the week, I feel like there's a lot of like thinking about like, how can I do this? How can I change? How can I be better? But at the end of the week with the trine between the Sun and Mercury in Leo and then the Mars in Aries, we have the opportunity to like make changes and shift in any way that we choose to shift. And I think that this card is also very important because Mercury and the Sun are in Leo, which is a fixed sign, and Uranus is in Taurus, which is a fixed sign. And so the energy of those planets is very unwilling to change, very happy in the way it is. And so this card is reminding us that we have the power to change, and it's really important that we do. Like, you're whole and perfect and important as you are, and there's always work to be done with the shifting. Remember to love your dark side, embrace all sides of yourself this week, especially with the Mars-Pluto square, as like kind of the uglier sides of yourself might get brought up. Remember that you like showing love to that dark side as well is really helpful, because if you try and ignore it, you're mean to your dark side, you like show resentment towards it, it's not going to go away, it's just going to be harder to deal with. So showing love to your dark side is important this week. And then finally having some curiosity and just kind of wondering what if, and then seeing what you can do to bring that curiosity into a reality. All right, that is all for this week. If you guys like this video, if you guys made it all the way through, please give me a thumbs up, comment down below, tell me what you thought, and subscribe so you can see more videos from me in the future. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.